The FARA is one of the best long-range automatic guns in Warzone, but if you can control the XM4's recently buffed recoil, it can kill faster than the FARA at long range. Check it out.
Guy going to get his loadout right there.
Enemies in the area.
Yep, 2 of them.
Be advised, friendly precision airstrike inbound.
Dead. Trying to kill the other guy with my airstrike.
A couple weeks ago, I never would have told you to use the XM4, but it got a buff to its recoil, and now it's a lot easier to use. It's actually so much easier to use now that I would put it in the same category as the FARA. If you can manage its recoil pattern now, it's actually a better gun than the FARA is. Okay, so once again, we're looking at JGod's long-range TTK chart, and these are all the automatic guns included in this chart. And here we've got the XM4, and we've got the FARA here. They're very similar on bullet velocity. The XM4 is a bit slower on the rate of fire, but this difference is barely noticeable on the battlefield. They have the same mag size. Here's the damage as long range. Worth noting here is that you can down more players per mag with the XM4 than you can with the FARA. And all the way down here, we're seeing that the XM4 has a better long-range TTK of 666 milliseconds compared with the FARA's 684 milliseconds. Neither gun is a slouch. They're both very good TTKs. But if you can manage the recoil pattern, the buffed recoil pattern of the XM4, it does show with the better TTK, it does show that the XM4 is better than the FARA. So I did some testing, and I have a comparison of the XM4 and the FARA recoil patterns. We can take a look at each one of them and do a side-by-side comparison. I recommend you give them both a shot, but whichever one works better for you, that's the one you should go with. And if it's the XM4, great, because it has a better TTK at long range. Okay, so let's take a look at the FARA's recoil pattern. All right, let's go check it out here. All right, so you can see this thing, it goes up just a bit and it just veers off a bit to the left, but then it goes straight up again. The magnitude is pretty minimal compared to a lot of the other ARs. And there's no side to side in this thing. It's just straight up, very tight, compact. This is an easy to control gun. It's one of the easiest in the game. All right, now let's take a look at the XM4's recoil pattern. All right, let's go up and take a look and see what we got here. Okay, so you can see here, I mean, the bullets impact the wall in a very straight vertical manner. There's no horizontal here. There's not a lot of side-to-side bouncing here. And with this gun, if you notice, it might even be easier for some people to control than the FARA, because it goes up here and just takes a leisurely lean to the right as the bullets fire up. So it's just up and to the right, which means when you're controlling the recoil, you're just down and to the left. So let's check out the build we're going to use for the FARA. Like with any long-range gun, we're going to go for maximum damage at range and maximum recoil control. So that's why we're using the GRU suppressor here for the muzzle. Okay, and the barrel is our Spetsnaz RPK. All right, this is going to give us the maximum amount of benefit at long range. Okay. Same thing with the Spetsnaz grip. We want to make sure we're getting the maximum recoil control, both horizontal and vertical. So for recoil, Spetsnaz grip, the 60 round magazine here, and then we want the 3x optic up here. Okay, so this is the build you want to use for the FARA, maximum benefit at long range. For the XM4, we have the same goal, maximum damage at range and maximum recoil control. That's how we're going to use the agency suppressor here in the muzzle. Our barrel is the task force. Okay, and down here for the underbarrel, we're using the field agent grip for maximum recoil control, horizontal and vertical. And then we use a 60 round magazine and the 3x, okay, for the scope. So that is our XM4 build. This one's going to serve you well. So the only other thing we need to keep in mind with the XM4 and the FARA is that, let's take a look at if you're hitting your enemy in the chest. We've got, for each of these guns, we've got basically a damage drop off here on each one of these. For the XM4, it's at 22 meters, and for the FARA, it's at 27. So why does this matter? A lot of beginning players and average players in Warzone are playing most of their engagements at mid to long ranges, 30, 40, 50 meters, and beyond. But if you play faster and you're going to need your main gun, your assault rifle, to be able to handle engagements in closer than mid ranges sometimes, just barely outside of the majority of SMG range, things like that. There's an extra 5 meters here. On the XM4, you've got 22 meters is where the damage drop-off begins. So your TTK, if you do all chest shots here at 22 meters, is 666 milliseconds. For the FARA, if you're doing all chest shots, it's at 27 meters that the damage changes. So you have an extra 5 meters here where you're going to be at a better TTK, okay? So you're going to still have this TTK of 608 right before you hit 27 meters. Whereas up here, you're going to be at 666 in the XM4, okay? So for the extra 5 meters, you're better off with the FARA. Is this going to apply very often? Probably not. But I think it's worth knowing if that's how you play your game.